the stage, the screen. There's no business like show business. And to prove that today, we actually have a very special guest in studio. Joining me today is Alicia Sable. Hi, Alicia. How are you doing?
Hi, David.
It's a pleasure to have you here. Alicia is an amazing actress. You've probably seen her. She's been in a number of commercials. She's certainly done movies, The Notorious Betty Page, an outstanding film just a few years back. And then one of my favorite TV shows, Amazon's very first scripted comedy, streaming online, was Alpha House, and Alicia starred alongside John Goodman and a whole host of amazing actors. So Alicia is an alumnus of Radford University, a 2001 graduate, and she is back in Radford to be in a wonderful production, The Importance of Being Earnest. We've got Alicia with us today. We're going to talk a little bit about it. So Alicia, you have done amazing things since you left Radford. It's
Thank you.
Really cool. Could you tell us a little bit about some movies like The Notorious Betty Page? That's one of my all-time favorites. Really cool role. Can you talk a little bit about that movie?
That was my very first job when I got to New York. Believe it or not.
Really?
That was my very, very first job. And I just went to, I had been going to audition after audition after audition. And I just went to this one, and I was like, oh, get off the subway and run up the stairs. And I go in, and she says, they said, oh, by the way, we need a Southern accent, please. And I said, well, I've got this down. So I did it, and I did the audition, and I left. And it's a funny one because it was one of those auditions where we had made plans to come back to Virginia to visit Mom and Dad. Mm-hmm. And so my husband is like, we're right by the Holland Tunnel. He's like in the car waiting to go. And I finish the audition. I get in the car. We go to Nares. I don't hear a thing for 3 weeks. And then one day my agent calls up at 6 o'clock at night. And he's like, oh, by the way, you booked that Notorious Betty Page job. And so that's sort of how that started. And that was like a really big deal. I got to join SAG. I got to do all
Very
that
cool.
stuff.
Gretchen Mol played Betty Page. You got to work with her a great deal. You played her sister Goldie, right?
Goldie was in it. Yep, I played Goldie. And yes, Gretchen Mol was lovely. And you know who else was in that movie? Norman Reedus.
Yes,
from The Walking Dead.
Hey.
He was in that movie.
Maybe that'll be a connection one day. You'll be a zombie. You never know.
Maybe. I hope. No, we rode the production van together. I was so excited.
Right. No, that's very
now
cool.
I'm excited. Back then.
What was that like? Your first professional New York job. You get up there. What was that like being on set for a motion picture like that? That, by the way, Roger Ebert, one of his last reviews, he loved it. Mm-hmm. He thought it was a great movie. It's sort of a hidden classic for a lot of people, but certainly like that. But what was that like being on set for a film like that?
I was at first I was horrified. I was scared to death because I was more of a theater actress.
Right.
I'd done theater. But when I went to school in New York, we did take some acting classes, but I didn't know which way was up and which way was down, as far as marks and how it worked. So I was really, really scared, but I just kind of pretended I knew what I was doing. I just kind of went with the flow. And everybody was so nice. When you get on those sets, it's been my experience that everybody is just so happy to, I guess, A, have a job, and B, doing something that they love. So people, it's been my experience. I can't say for everybody. People tend to be pretty happy and pretty accommodating. They work kind of as a team. They all want the product to be great. So.
Right, absolutely. Well, and then that experience, I'm sure, was helpful when you started to do more commercials and then Alpha House.
Yes.
Tell us, I love Alpha House. If you haven't seen it, folks, you need to go check it out on Amazon. It was their first original comedy, scripted comedy. Talk about that a little bit. I mean, Alpha House, working with John Goodman. Bill Murray was in the pilot episode for it. How cool was that?
Yes, it was amazing. And like I said, what I did when I did Betty Page, I had never done a movie. Well, when I did Alpha House, I'd never done a TV show. So that was like a whole nother ball of yarn that I had to learn how to handle. And we shot the pilot in New York in the middle of winter, I guess back a few years ago, and I walked on set, and at this point I had done some things, and I kind of knew. And then the second I saw everybody, I'm sitting next to John Goodman. I grew up watching him, on Roseanne my entire life. I'm working with him now, so I just put my best game face on, and I was like, okay, all right, we can do this. And he was so nice, and again, everybody was really open and really, really nice. And with that experience, I learned how you shoot TV, which is completely different. So but it was great. I mean, I would do it all again if I could.
Very cool. And, of course, in between that and ever since and some of those things, you've also done stage work, right?
Yes,
You have a
yes.
lot of stage work. We want to talk a little bit about what you're doing now and the importance of being earnest. And you're back to Radford to share your wonderful experiences with the students and the audience and the cast and everything. So maybe you could talk a little bit about the play, your role, and what we're going to see when we go see the play.
Okay, I will be playing Gwendolyn Fairfax along with the rest of the amazing cast, and it's a nice Oscar Wilde show. I think it's one of his most popular shows.
Absolutely.
So everybody loves it. It's very funny.
And it's been performed so many times around the country. I think it's
Yes.
one of the staples that really goes on in so many different places. And of course, Wesley Young, who's a great director here at Radford University, a theater professor, is directing. And you're starring with some local theater dignitaries. Kathleen Harshberger is also in
Kathleen
the
plays
play.
my mother.
Okay, and so that's wonderful. Well, what's it been like to come back to your alma mater and to work with obviously some faculty and students and folks here? What has that been like?
Oh, it's been great. I arrived, and the cast and Wesley and the students and Kathleen, they've all been rehearsing for about 8 weeks before I arrived, and I had rehearsed myself and practiced lines and that sort of stuff. And the very first rehearsal, I got up, and these kids didn't miss a beat. They were just like so on with everything. Here was a new person completely being thrown into the show, and I thought, oh my gosh, I'm going to derail this train in a matter of moments. But it's worked out, and everybody's so patient with me, and I left that first rehearsal. I thought, boy, I've got a lot of catching up to do. And I thought, gosh, what a great program. Here, these professors, Wesley, and all the faculty, the acting, or the theater faculty, they've really taught these students, how to prepare and how to be professional. And I thought, God, I'm so proud that I'm from this. I came from this.
Right. And the interesting thing was you were in productions here at Radford, but you weren't a theater major.
No, I was
you were
not.
a music major.
I was a music major. I was a
Yeah.
singer. Yeah. And I had a teacher, my voice teacher, Betty Turner. She said to me, you should really get involved in the theater. I think they're doing a musical next semester. Go take an acting class. Really take advantage of everything. And that's sort of how I ended up in Wesley. It was his first year, and he was my acting teacher.
How about that?
Yeah, so it was his first year,
Full
my
circle.
last year. Full
Yep.
circle.
Full circle. Pretty
So,
cool.
yeah.
Now, the production you were in was The Boyfriend.
Yes, The
right?
Boyfriend.
And it's a classic Broadway show and an older play, older than I thought. I think
Yes.
it goes way back. The Importance of Being Earnest opens on Tuesday, April 11th, 7:30 p.m. in the Pridemore Playhouse in Porterfield Hall on the Radford University campus. Then it's performed again on Thursday, April 13th through Saturday, April 15th at 7:30 each night. So Thursday, Friday, Saturday at 7:30, and then on Sunday at 2 p.m. on April the 16th. So pretty cool that it's going to be going on. Tickets are not very expensive at all. You can check them out. rutheatertickets.com, or you can just come by Porterfield Hall to check out the box office. So that's pretty cool. Good stuff going on. Alicia's going to be in the play. Kathleen Harshberger, a whole host of people. Wesley Young is directing it. It's going to be really neat. We've only got a couple more minutes with Alicia, and she has a really cool story that I want to tell you. I want her to tell you about Alpha House. Of course, it's Amazon's first streaming series. They made a huge deal about it, a scripted comedy streaming series. They made a huge deal about it. Tell us about what happened at the end there.
At the end of season 2, they did the final shot of the last episode at the big wedding episode, and they actually put cameras on drones, and they sent the cameras up, and they, shot that scene with the drones. And also, before in previous episodes of that season, they had some drones come see Gil John on his porch.
Right.
He took care of those. And
With shotgun, right?
The shotgun.
That's right.
He shot them. They were following him around. And so what Amazon did after we wrapped season 2, I'm home in my apartment. And I go to the mailbox. I have this big box from Amazon, and I'm thinking, oh, what did my husband order now? And so I rip it open, I open it up, and it's a gift from Amazon, and it was a special little Alpha House mini drone.
Very cool. Can you fly it? Did you fly it?
I did, and then I broke it.
Oh, well, such is life. In our greatest victories come those moments. Very cool, very cool. Thank you so much for being with us today.